with regard to this, and kind of my where I was at when you rejoined was, it can depend a lot on whether or not I'm following up with businesses or consumer, or what the standard is. But what I know we've found is, as much as it's about frequency, it's also about the context, the content, and the tonality.
Absolutely.
And so it will typically accelerate. And so up front, it's hey, here's a reminder that you've got a bill coming due. Hey, we're a little bit late. Thank you very much for your business. And maybe there it starts out at about a 15-day interval, with kind of 30-day milestones memorialized. And what we invest a lot in Arrears, though, is to say, where is that appropriate to do by email or text? And when is it appropriate to really refer this out and have a one-on-one conversation? Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of this comes down to having a conversation. But if I'm balancing across, 100, 200 invoices, some are large, some are small, some folks just need the reminder and the expectation. And so how do you make sure that prized kind of call is going out at the right time? But too frequent would be more in a non-escalated basis, more than 5 days, frequency, and that's pretty late. And by the time you're contacting or even reaching out more regularly than that, you're probably already into that. This is the uncomfortable consequences stage of the process.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the other thing too is, I think there's two things. One, depends on your company, and it depends on how your systems are set up. For example, so if you're doing AR basically through technology, I'm sure within Arrears you have a process, you have a system that says, okay, emails, invoices submitted, first notification, okay, received your invoice, payment is due this date, and then it's scheduled. Where you and I talked about this, I said I'm still old school, so I do both. We have the technology that sends a reminder, but I'm still of the mindset that you still have to have a conversation. I jokingly say that everything can't be solved in 144 characters. Because most people, hey, listen, we all love technology, and technology is a great thing. But how you and I got connected, because I said, I love the technology, but I still believe in old school values, which is that you still have to have a conversation. Because now follow up, some people might be, they don't want to talk at all. They're fine with getting the reminders, and they'll just pay you. But because I deal, in the government space, a lot of times we have to, even though we have the reminders going out, I still have to get on the phone and say, okay, hey, can we have a Teams meeting? Can I have a Zoom call with you? Okay, show me what's going on. And I got, and I jokingly say, I got to get the story. That's where the what had happened was, I have to get the what had happened was story, because once I get the story, then I get to understand more of the pieces of the puzzle. Because unfortunately, the larger the invoice, the larger the company, especially if there's more departments, it's got approved by so and so, then it got sent to this person, or they fat fingered it, or whatever the story is. And that's where the problem solving piece comes in. So I think number one, you have to exercise good judgment in terms of how often you follow up with your customer. Number two, we're in the relationship business. At the end of the day, we're in the relationship business, and yes, you have to get comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. Yes. Can you do it to a point where you don't damage the relationship? Yes. Are there sometimes you're going to have to cut your losses and go, okay, this just isn't worth it? Yep. And then hopefully what you will do is you'll take good notes, and you'll go, okay, these are the things that we messed up on, or these are the things we missed, and we want to make sure going forward, if we do a 2.0 of this, we're not going to end up here again. We're going to put some more parameters around this, and we're going to make sure we do the follow-ups. We ask the questions, we check the credit, we have a lock solid contract, we make sure we do proper invoicing, we say the first time this is missed, we're not going to do the follow, we're not going to wait 5 days, we're going to do it 2 days, and we're going to make sure we're going to be a little more assertive, a little more aggressive, but we want to make sure we're getting the money, because hey, we've already taken a loss, in the first quarter, for example. We're not trying to have this be 4 quarters deep, and we're like, man, we lost all this money, and nobody wants to address the elephant in the room, which is, we have to improve our systems. And systems are people and technology.
And I like that a lot. The one of the things I'd add is like there's a fair focus on what's the frequency, and and when we're engaging with kind of clients and prospects, one of the things that we see more often than not is the communication's just not happening at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it may be I kind of follow up diligently with my top 10, 20 clients. We know them. And then I got the other 80 or 90%. And it's, I kind of shot the invoice off, and then now it's already in trouble.
Yep.
And so it's how do we automate that? And there's a complement to, and some of the, AI technology today is just really amazing in the ability to personalize, a very high value follow-up conversation for, any of those that don't yet warrant a call or haven't received a call. And, and one of the other pieces that I know that we found is it's one thing to follow up. When you've got their time and attention is how do I make it one click now to execute that payment or set up that payment schedule at the same time. I know that we kind of said that we'd kind of keep this lean and mean, and I know that, you're busy kind of starting up the month. I'd love to kind of, any kind of closing remarks or words of wisdom that you'd love to share, or any other questions that I know that we've got from folks in the audience.
Well, let's take a question. If there's somebody in the audience that has a question, I'd love to. I've got a couple minutes. We can take a quick question from them, and then we'll keep it, like we said, we're gonna keep it mean and lean. And then here's the other thing: we're gonna do this again. I look forward to us doing this again. We'll pick another topic and we'll do it about 30 minutes, which I think to be like as a good short window. Yeah. So, is there a question? Because I can't see the chat.
One question I've got a little bit is when it comes to negotiating, and I'm deeper in that. And so now I've got to figure out what can I get? How do you think through that negotiating stage?
How do I think through it? I'm old school. I do a T-square, literally. Pros. Here are all the things here's all the things I want to be able to say and get. Cons. What are the things that what could be an objection, and then how am I going to handle it? And then the other piece is how long have you had this customer? Number one. Number two. When you negotiate, what's going to be the win-win for you, and only you can determine that. So that's, like I said, I'm old school, T-square. All the pros, the cons. How long have you had this customer? What's the win-win for you, and what's going to make you feel like, okay, I have to have this conversation. I want to come away with getting my money. First of all, I'd love to be able to get all my money, but if I have to succeed some. Okay, what am I willing to lose so that I can, number one, keep this customer and then basically get repeat business. And then three, what's going to make you make sure you can go to sleep at night and you're like, I'm good with what we did. I feel like we talked it through. No, I don't agree with everything, neither do they. But the bigger part is, okay, there's $10,000 or $100,000 outstanding. Okay, if I come away with getting back 80, now I didn't really want to lose $20,000, but I get $80,000. I still have this relationship with this customer, and prayerfully, we're going to do repeat business. So that's the way I approach it. I'm always looking at pros, cons. What's my minimum walkaway number that I'm going to be good with, and then long term is how can I make sure that I can continue to work with this customer.
I love it, and I think that kind of is a good, very consistent touchstone on, in particular, how is collecting up and following up on some of these just one more part of that critical customer service journey, right? Yep. One client relationship at a time.
Absolutely.
So, very great. I know you've got an amazing book. I'd certainly invite people, if they want to know more, to kind of follow up and check that out. And kind of, you're a great resource. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and kind of folks that are interested in kind of, hey, parts of this come down to old school conversations, people to people. And there's a lot of it that, in and around that, technology can help make sure, hey, how do I scale this? How do I kind of embed this? Because scarcity is kind of time is what we're all working against in small business. So I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dee.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody that joined.